Well, thank you all for attending this afternoon, and special thanks for the candidates and the candidate representatives who have joined us this afternoon. And we'll start with some of the statewide offices and some of the judicial system offices and hear from some of the candidates for those positions. I'd like to start with John Repke to my left here. Nice to meet you today. The biographic information I found about John is as follows. He's been the CEO of several multinational corporations. He was born in Illinois and has lived in Whitefish for the last decade. He received his bachelor's degree from Ohio State and a master's of business administration from the University of Denver, and he's worked 40 years in this field. He did a bid in 2022 for the Montana Public Service Commission, and he's held high-level positions with SmartLam, HAVA Global Logistics, Waste Management. His opponent in this race is Republican James Brown. So welcome, John. And I wanted to pose at least two questions to you today and let you respond. Just about a year ago, we had a very severe wildfire in Paradise, other end of Sanders County, over 20,000 acres, 56 structures destroyed, and at least 15 residents destroyed as well. So my question to you, if you're elected state auditor, with wildfire being such a threat in all parts of Montana, especially in growing urban areas, what would you do as the auditor insurance commissioner to ensure the availability of adequate, affordable fire insurance for landowners?
Thank you, John, and thank you for allowing me to speak here today. My second trip here to Sanders County since I've been running. I used to travel down here to teach some business classes at the Sanders County community office outside of town. I was at the Montana Insurance Summit a couple weeks ago in Butte, and this topic was the topic of conversation. And the people that are familiar with the issues were describing the homeowners insurance markets as being chaotic, I wish I could think of all the words, in decline. It was described as a serious issue because it's not just wildfires, it's all of the climate-driven catastrophes, climate events that we've had, not only here in Montana, but across the country that are really stressing the insurance markets. And as you probably have experienced, either your homeowner's insurance has gone way up, or you've been declined when you try to renew, or you've been unable to get insurance, homeowner's insurance. So it's a serious issue that needs to be addressed. Right now, nothing really creative is being done. What I would do if I was elected is, first of all, look at best practices that are happening in other states. There are several other states that have a state-backed homeowners insurance program, kind of an insurer of last resort. And we may need to look at doing something like that because, if you can't get homeowners insurance, you can't get a mortgage. If you get canceled, your mortgage company is probably going to force you into some kind of insurance that would be extremely expensive. So, and you can't sell your house if it can't be insured. So it's a big issue. We have to find more, and without getting into the details of the various layers of insurance and reinsurance and how we could bifurcate risk and do things like that, I will just say that I absolutely will work to find creative solutions that recognize mitigation efforts that homeowners make, because those aren't always recognized as they should be. Encourage mitigation efforts at a community level, and make sure that we can provide a healthy homeowners insurance market for the people here in Montana.
Thank you very much. Staying with the topic of insurance, given the authority of the Montana Insurance Commissioner, what would be your highest priority concerning medical insurance?
Well, the highest priority is to advocate as strongly as I can from the office to repeal the sunset of Medicaid expansion, which is scheduled to happen. Okay. You know, that's probably the first applause I've gotten at any. Maybe I need to up my game, yeah. Usually they applaud when I'm done speaking, and I'm not really sure, how to take that. But a third of Montana residents rely on Medicaid or Medicaid expansion for their health insurance. And, that's a third statewide. That's not a third in Bozeman or Missoula or something. When I go to these communities in eastern Montana in particular, you're probably talking about not 1 in 3, but 1 in, half the population or maybe even more relies on that insurance. And if people don't have that insurance, the hospitals can't stay open, the nursing homes can't stay open. So it's a critical issue, and we have to make sure that we repeal that sunset so that Medicaid expansion can continue and people can continue to get medical insurance. I mean, it's very fundamental. When I go around, and I especially, I've been to a few powwows, and I see these little kids that come out when the little kids come out for the march, and to think that those kids don't have access to the medical care they might need and the education as well. I mean, you're taking kids and having them start, a few steps behind. We just can't have that happen. So that's the top priority. To the degree that people can't get on Medicaid or Medicaid expansion, we need to find more creative ways to, make available affordable quality health insurance to them, because not only do they need it, but our communities need it as well.
I'm going to sneak in one more question here, John. A lot of people don't know that the auditor is also a member of the Board of Land Commissioners for the state. What would be your priority in that service?
Well, currently the state land board is 100% Republican, and if you look at the people that are on there, it's hard to imagine that we're really being served very well. So step one, we need to get somebody on that land board so that we can have some transparency into the decision-making processes that they're following. My background is, there was a slight misstatement. I wasn't CEO, I was CFO, so Chief Financial Officer. So my background is business finance. And the state lands were set aside for the purpose of providing revenue to fund our K through 12 education in the state. That's very important. And state lands will be leased in order to generate that revenue. My financial background will help make sure that those leases are fair to the people of Montana and not skewed in the favor of those leasing. So that's one. But secondly, for those lands, and there's a substantial portion that is not leased, we need to make sure that the people of Montana still have access to those public lands, and that those lands are managed in a way that, that the real treasure in the treasure state is our lands. I mean, everything else has kind of a timeline to it, but our lands are the greatest treasure, and we need to make sure that we conserve those lands for future generations.